Welcome to Vital 100, the podcast designed to take your health to the next level.
A recent study showed that 70% of the U.S. adults are either overweight or obese. Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Johnson, and today's podcast is going to be concerned with weight loss and how to keep that obesity in check. Or in fact, if you want to become optimally healthy, how to do that as well. So there are a number of reasons why it's important to lose weight to get to an optimal weight for your composition, your height, that kind of thing. First, and what most people see, is their appearance. Obviously, they want to lose pounds, so they become a little bit more sleek and they're more attractive and so forth. And although that's important from a mental, emotional point of view, it certainly isn't the only reason why you should think about losing weight. Most people who are overweight have joint problems because there's so much stress on their hips and their feet and their knees. The different types of fat are really the cutaneous or skin fat and the inner core fat. And the inner core fat is very dangerous because it's around the organs and it creates an increase in cardiovascular disease. It creates problems in the GI system, the liver, and so it's important from a health point of view to really get down to a normal working weight. The other things are that fat cells increase inflammation in the body. Inflammation causes things like arthritis. Inflammation is also the initiator to a lot of chronic health issues. So by losing weight, you decrease inflammation and you will indeed become overall much healthier. And fat cells store toxicity, and so that's important from decreasing the toxicity in your body for losing weight. And finally, obese people who are overweight and maintain it for a long time in their life, actually have documented shorter lifespans. So if you don't mind considering losing 10 years of healthy life, then I really recommend that you consider losing weight. So what are the components of weight loss? Certainly, diet is very important. And I use that word diet loosely because a lot of people have negative connotations associated with diet. But diet means basically just eating the healthy foods and trying to, at all costs, avoid the unhealthy foods. The unhealthy foods are things like the carbohydrates and the sugars and the processed foods. But basically what we want to do is we want to increase the foods that have low glycemic index. What does that mean? What low glycemic index foods are foods that do not raise the sugar levels in our blood very high. It doesn't raise the insulin secretion, which is the way the body stores the sugars into our cells. So low glycemic foods are really the way you want to go. And you can Google that and find out what foods are low glycemic index, and that's the ones you choose from when you're considering what to eat. Diet includes minimizing or eliminating sugars and carbohydrates. Now, sugars are pretty much everywhere, or in most foods, which are put in by the food industry to make things more palatable, more tasty, but they are not healthy. And also, the diet is determining what to eat and what not to eat. Right now, we won't go into diets like the ketogenic diet or the low gluten diet, gluten-free diet, but we will talk about those in future podcasts. So another component to weight loss is actual activity. I tell people that if you want to lose weight, if you want to be healthy, there is no way you can do it if you are not physically active. Now, that could take many forms. It can be swimming in the pool, it can be biking, running, it can be going for aggressive walks, it can be doing resistance training with weights. I personally find great benefit in doing cardiovascular work on the treadmill and or the bike, but I also do a lot of weight work and stretching, which is very important to keep things flexible in my body. So activity is absolutely critical to being able to lose weight, the general concept is you take in less food and you increase your activity, and that way your body will burn a whole lot more and start to lose weight. Another thing that's really critical, and people find this a little bit counterintuitive, and that is you've got to get good sleep. Good sleep allows the body to recover, whether it's being able to burn foods up, being able to recover from the day's stresses and bumps and bruises. You've got to get a good at least 7 hours sleep of deep restful sleep, because one of the things that deep restful sleep does, it allows oxygen to get to the cells. When you have oxygen getting into the cells, and this means you're not snoring, there's no sleep apnea, when you're getting oxygen into the cells, you are raising the metabolism of the cells, and you are thus losing weight. Now, I won't go off too much on this topic, but every cell has something in it called mitochondria. Mitochondria are the energy factors in the cells. And if they slow down, then your metabolism, your energy production gets very sluggish, and it's hard to lose weight, it's hard to get through the day because you're so fatigued. So eating right, good activity, and good sleep are going to be critical to raising that metabolism, raising the performance of your mitochondria, and the bottom line, losing weight, getting to a normal weight for you. We talked a little bit about metabolism. There are basically two types of metabolism, especially as it pertains to weight loss. The first type is sugar-carbohydrate metabolism. So when you take in sugars and carbohydrates, your body will burn those and neglect anything else to use as fuel. So the analogy I give is that when you start a fire and you put the newspaper and the kindling on, those burn very easily, but they burn very quickly and they're done. Whereas the logs on the fire are the other type of metabolism, which is fat metabolism. If you train your body to be a fat metabolizer, it's like logs on your fire. They're hard to start up, but once they start burning, they will burn for a very long time. The other thing that's very important, if you train your body to be a fat metabolizer, then you will be burning fat all day long, and this is the surest way to lose weight. Not just a little bit when you're exercising or when you're eating something that's healthy. This is a way, when you become a fat metabolizer, and it's not easy to do that, but you can do it. When you become a fat metabolizer, you are burning fat all day long, and it's the best way to lose weight. And the other thing is it keeps things like hormones balanced. It normalizes your cholesterol. Those are all very important things when it comes to what kind of a metabolizer you are. So that's very important, and we'll talk about that at a later podcast. But suffice it to say right now is that if you want to lose weight, yes, all these activities are very important, but by becoming a fat metabolizer, that is the surest way to lose weight 24 hours a day. Detoxifying your liver and the kidneys and the tissues themselves is very, very important. Why detoxifying the liver is so important is because the liver processes things like hormones and toxins and other metabolites that you need to function very well. And as your body is losing weight, the toxins that are released from the fat cells are processed through the liver. And if the liver gets congested and it becomes impossible to function at a high level, it will be impossible to really lose weight. So when we do our weight loss program with people, which incidentally is very effective, we not only do these activities and do lifestyle changes and your diet changes, but we also do a lot of detoxifying the certain organs in the body. Part of detoxification is drinking a fair amount of water. We find a lot of people are very dehydrated, so drinking a lot of good, clean water is important to wash out toxins and to help with your metabolism. The hormones are very, very important. The balance of the hormones, and these include things like testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. Those are all very important, but the big ones are the thyroid hormones and the adrenal hormones, which help our metabolism and help us handle stress. The thyroid, for those of you who are not familiar with it, controls our metabolism, and many, many people get low thyroid. That can come from toxicity, it can come from genetics, it can come from poor diets, but normalizing your thyroid function will help keep that metabolism at a very high level. And so balancing hormones, whether they include the sex hormones or whether they include the stress hormones like cortisol or the thyroid hormones, is very important to losing weight and is part of the whole program. So as you can see, there are many components to an effective weight loss program, which we do on a constant basis with people, and it almost has to become a lifestyle change. I can't tell you how many people they go through weight loss for 3 months or 6 months, and they get to that bathing suit body, and then they stop doing it. They go back to a poor diet. They go back to inactivity, and many times it comes back. So you have to kind of consider that losing weight, a weight loss program, has to become kind of a lifestyle thing. And what I tell people is, yes, in the beginning it's hard to break your habits and eat the right things when you're not used to, but sooner or later you get to the point where eating healthy foods, eating salads, eating things that don't contain sugar, that are good proteins and oils, is going to be much easier, and in fact you start craving those and start to avoid the sugars and the carbohydrates. Some of the products we have in our weight loss programs is a product that does not allow foods to convert to fat, which you will store. And in fact, by suppressing those fat conversion enzymes, you will not, even if you deviate a little bit from your diet, you will not store it as fat. We have products that up your metabolism, which, as I said before, is very critical to be able to lose weight 24 hours a day. And so some of the products we have will do that very, very nicely. And we also have to put in the good things. So supplements we have are protein shakes, protein powders, oils that are very good. Omega-3s are very, very important to keeping a healthy body, keeping cells healthy, keeping your metabolism healthy, and also improving or increasing your mineral content of your different cells and tissues is very important. Things like magnesium, things like chromium. Chromium, incidentally, is a very important mineral that has to do with how you handle your sugar metabolism, how your pancreas, which is the producer for insulin, is going to function. So having a full complement of minerals is vital to good weight loss and just good overall health. So what we provide is we provide good proteins. The body uses those. It breaks it down into the amino acids, and the amino acids are transported to where the body needs them, and you build muscle as opposed to storing it as fat. If you get a lot of fat storing in the liver, it's what we call non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is very debilitating for the liver. But by doing good, healthy weight loss, you will optimize liver function. And incidentally, when you add proteins, the best time to incorporate those proteins into the muscles is when you take, say, a protein powder. When you do that within a half an hour after you've exercised and as you're going to bed, the amino acids will incorporate and produce protein in the muscles, which you want. Just as an aside, which is very important here, is weight loss does not mean just getting on the scale and what your number is. You would rather lose the bad tissues, the fat causing your obesity, and increase muscle mass, which is very healthy, which incidentally improves your metabolism. But by increasing muscle mass, you may not be losing that much weight, but you'll look a lot better, you'll be a lot healthier, which is the most important thing. Just measuring your weight is not always the most important thing. It's measuring your metabolism. It's measuring your, what we call BMI, basal metabolic index. These are important, and by increasing your protein mass, you may not be losing as much weight as you want, but you'll be a much healthier and much better looking person without the obesity. So we'll talk more in future podcasts about some of these details as we get feedback from our audience and address them. But weight loss is not just how you eat. It's not just being more active. It's not just wearing tighter clothes. It really is a little bit more complex topic, and you can do it very quickly if you do it the right way. One last thing that's very important here is the fact that so many people gain weight. You are being undermined in your health and your weight loss programs and efforts by the food industry. And so I want you to realize that you've got to be very proactive in learning how to lose weight and not just eat anything that's in front of you, because so much junk is put in our grocery stores and on our tables, and so you have to know what to eat and what not to eat. Please pass this information on to people who could benefit greatly by it. Please get in touch with us, and I certainly hope you enjoyed this podcast. Thank you, and enjoy the journey.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Vital 100. Please check out our website, vital100wellness.com, for other ways to listen to our podcast, as well as additional health resources. If you have questions for Dr. Bob, or if you have feedback or recommendations for the podcast, please send an email to info@vital100wellness.com.